This is terrifying.
You're
Oh
scared.
my, like
You
seriously.
flipped your wig.
Listen, and I don't even have a wig, but yes, if I had a wig, it would be flipped left, right, and center. You look so nice and lovely. How do you come up with this insane stuff? It's terrifying.
Well, it's fun for us, and we love the book so much. I've been living with this book since my teenage years, and of course, adapting it into a movie was a thrill. And it was only after around it chapter two, the idea of like you of basically looking into the rest of the book appeared, and it's been exciting all this time, and you know.
Do you realize Pennywise it? If you Google scary clowns, I think it's considered one of the most frightening things now in pop culture.
Yeah, of course. He's an icon. We love her. We love Penny Girl.
Yeah, I think Stephen King really did it in for clowns. Anyone who wants a clown career, they really got some beef with Steve.
This is a series set in a time that there was racial tension, and somehow it's woven in this horror and all this other stuff in such a clever way.
It was a huge challenge to
Mm.
play something that's a period piece set in 1962 and set aside all of my
Yeah.
modern thinking, and play a character that seems to be very, very rigid and very much an authoritarian military guy, but deep inside he's got a soft spot for a little indigenous girl, and he's terrified all the time. So as an actor, it was a huge challenge, and being an American who grew up with Stephen King, it is a great honor and a great privilege to say his words.
The movies take place in 1989, and Andy and Barbara, really depicted 1989 perfectly, American 1989. And taking it back 27 years, which is an it cycle is every 27 years. It comes out to feed, then it goes back into hibernation. We wanted to take the show back. I know, 27 years. 1962 is a very different time in America. It's very much idealized as, the suburban ideal, the American ideal. And you had to really make it look like that in every way, in production design, in costume design. Even our actors had to exude a different kind of innocence, a different kind of hopefulness in many cases about the world, so that we can actually rip that facade away and you can see the rot beneath the surface.
Obviously, the story of it, the story of this show, is the story of the weaponization of fear. It's fear used as a tool to divide people, to make people feel alone, and turn against one another. And so that feels like a story that's timely as ever, but certainly very of the moment in 1962 when Welcome to Derry season one takes place. And so you have characters with different fears and different terrors than the characters that we met in chapter one or chapter two in the films or in the book. So yeah, we have a moment in time where the Cold War is at its peak, where there's the threat and the fear of nuclear annihilation and radioactive mutations and all the stuff that animated sci-fi and horror back then. And then you've also got the very real fears and tensions related to racism and race, and particularly because this is a story at its heart about an African American family moving into this predominantly white town of Derry, Maine.
How do you bring Pennywise back and this time have the challenge of, okay, we're going to let this linger, but when you finally see Pennywise, there's going to be something unique, something brilliant, and something quite original, because the audience expectation now is up there.
Well, there is a little bit of a slow burn. Like the anticipation is important for me, and so Pennywise doesn't appear immediately. But being a shapeshifter, we have opportunities to feel his presence all through the other incarnations in which he appears. So yeah, for me, it was very important. How does Pennywise finally appears in this story? And I think it's the build-up works, the anticipation works, and he appears in very specific and special circumstances.
When you get the script for this, and obviously Stephen King, there's been a series back in the day, but I think most of us are familiar with the 2 movies, which did incredibly well in the box office. I think they did something like $1 billion. Is it an automatic yes, or do you read on because there's so much nuance? Because 60s civil rights. Ugh.
Yes. It is. It did feel pretty obvious. It was an obviously, but it's the whole sum of parts. It was Andy, it was Barbara, it's Bill, it's these people, my like incredible family of talented people. And it's so layered. I had so much I got to do. 1962, like sign me up for any period piece.
Yeah, the fashion was insane. Your fits were just
beautiful, right?
Stunning. Absolutely
Yeah, I
stunning.
even had the pointy brassiere.
I know.
And that all informs the way one walks through the world.
true.
Like then, you're like a bit buttoned up. I kind of wore a corset in honor. It's not really corsets, but
Like the girl.
slim, the girls, everything is like calculated and intentional. And
I can only imagine as actors when you walk on set and you look around and it's like all there for you. Oh my God, it must just be like mind-blowing.
That's a big relief. You don't have to act as hard.
Yes.
No green screen.
No, you absolutely not. You just respond to your surroundings.
When you went on set and you walk into this town, which looks like a real town, could you just talk me through what that felt like?
I think it just adds to the immersion of playing these roles that we get to play. I think if you coming on set, a lot of times you could be acting in front of a green screen or a tennis ball, but I think the production, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the production designers were fantastic in making sure that when we walked in the set every day, it was easier to believe that we were in this world with this sensational element because of all the detail that they put into the set. I think it helped us all perform much better.
I thought the first time you see Bill, whether it's behind the scenes or on screen, as that big, scary, flipping clown, I think even the behind the scenes footage, he looks frightening. What do you think? How did you feel?
It was definitely, it was an iconic moment because, it's just this image that lives in your mind as an audience member, and it is terrifying. And there is a certain viscerality that Bill brings to it that I can't imagine any other actor on the planet could do. And so it just so happened, and I came to set the first day that I knew that Bill was working just to watch him work. And so the first time I saw him was on the video monitor with him behind working. And what was so strange is I had to force myself to keep looking at him to go, that's just an actor. This is just a scene, because it was like I got sucked into the screen. This is no special effects. No, I mean, of course, the beautiful lighting and, the design and all that stuff. And of course, the wonderful performances. But it's incredible how he sucks you in. And the second they say cut and he comes off set, it's just the loveliest human being you've ever met. But also he's a giant. He's a giant.
He's a striking presence.
And he is being it, Pennywise. I am freaking out. He's such a tall man as well. When you see him for the first time in costume, what does that feel like? And also, the audience wants something a little bit different, because even with the second movie, we had the spider thing. We had other elements. So how difficult was it to make sure that when we finally see him, because I know it's going to take a while, that there was something quite uniquely brilliant and frightening that we hadn't had before?
Well, you're spot on, and we're both quite short, so I find tall people terrifying in general. But particularly when Bill is in costume, it's fairly creepy. It's fairly creepy. He's such a lovely guy, but you kind of can't shake that eerie feeling looking at him in costume. We wanted to sort of slowly ratchet up the tension before we reveal our version of Pennywise. We wanted to also find something fresh about the character. Obviously, Bill has done this character now twice. We wanted him to have something that felt new and different to play with. And so you're going to get to see an even more terrifying version of Pennywise in this season, and a Pennywise that reveals a little bit more of the humanity, the man behind that monster, in a way that I think audiences will find surprising.
And you're meeting Pennywise earlier in his cycle. Obviously, in the movie is 1989. Here it's 1962. So he's a little bit younger and he's a lot more ruthless.
I was hoping you were going to say he's younger, so he's a little bit more innocent, so we humanize him. But you say no, he's worse.
No, he's the non-innocent participant in Welcome to Derry.
The biggest tool in Pennywise's kid is his unpredictability. And I think that's something that we've managed to get very well in the show. You just don't know what he's going to do or when he's going to do it.
Stephen King has already put a review out on his X, and he said it's amazing and the first episode is terrifying, which I agree with. Are you nervous at all because you know the book? Stephen King is an icon. He's kind of co-signed it. Does it put a little less pressure for that release date?
Of course. Yeah, he's the myth, the legend, the Stephen King.
Yeah,
one of the greatest minds of all time that's given us all so much. So much material, so many roles. He's employed a lot of people. So yeah,
absolutely.
We're happy we could give him something.
Right. And this is in its truest sense. And I think it's why the movie is the top grossing horror film of all time. And and the book itself is one of his most well-read and most beloved novels. And so it's a kind of capital S story. Mm-hmm. And he is the storyteller. He is the auteur.
Does it put a little less pressure on your shoulders when you think, okay, he's co-signed it now, because the fans are so anxious to watch this?
I don't think so. I think it's an incredibly it's a great compliment.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we had to do the work, and so the audience. You learn in theater that the audience is always the last to see everything, and it's their job to judge it and to evaluate it and see what they get from it. And hopefully, we've done our job, and we're showing humanity through our characters, and people appreciate it. I was very thankful and grateful, but we put a lot of work in, and we worked for over 10, 11 months on this. So I truly believe we did our jobs.
Guys, absolute pleasure. I'm wishing you so much success. I cannot wait for everyone to see it. You all rock.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.